mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't giving this at all, you steer clear. Never beat, I've been down and I reappear. You got some money on the line, you better put it here. Rolling in and doing that work. Check priorities, I'm doing that first. Check's big and I'm sure that hurts, but it's checkmate, we ain't selling short, know the work. Ain't nowhere to hide. You ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind, cause I be on the way.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the Farm Report. It is I, Pete Simonetti, with the one, the only, Dane Huber.
What's going on, Pete?
What's going on, my guy? How you doing? Big day today, Dane.
It is a huge day today. Jasson Dominguez is back.
Yesterday, my bad.
It
was yesterday.
Well,
okay, all right. We're kind of recording the same day. Okay, just so everybody knows, this is pre-recorded. All right, this is it. Look, you see, I still got the get up from Carlos Rodon dominating. All right. Anyway, the Martian has landed.
He has, and boy, he looked like he didn't miss a beat. He lined in a ball up the middle in his first at bat, and boy, does he look like he's in great shape. And if you guys haven't seen the interview that John Brophy got him, make sure to check that out. The English in it was impressive. The fact that he's taken it upon himself to learn that really speaks volumes about his character.
Oh, yeah.
And oh boy, am I glad he's back.
And he really didn't skip a beat. Look at all those phones out behind him. Singles in his first at bat, also drew a walk. That is kind of who we expect. And by the way, one thing that there was a little bit of concern about based off some video and things of that nature that we saw in spring training is he looks like he's in better shape than when he was with the Yankees last year.
He does. He looks like he's in phenomenal shape. He's the waist is thinner.
Yeah.
The whole body is thinner, looks more athletic. He's in phenomenal shape, it looks like.
And again, the footage you guys are seeing right now, that is, of course, exclusive footage to NYYU from the one and only John Brophy. Dane also mentioned before the interview that Brophy had recorded, where you can just see the person Dominguez is. He's sometimes you forget how young this kid is, but he still feels like he's mature beyond his age just because of the way he presents himself. And one of the things, Dane, you talk about a lot is this guy is not scared of any moment. He loves the bright lights. He wants the attention on him. It's as clear as day. And, you know, one of the big conversations right now is if this guy forces the issue, meaning he tears it up in the minor leagues, what the hell are the New York Yankees going to do at the major league level to get him up there? Because we know about Verdugo. We know that Stanton is starting to hit. There you see the walk of the day for Dominguez. But we know all this other stuff. What the hell do you do in that situation?
I don't know, Pete. Obvious answers, Grisham goes, but they're not going to bring Dominguez up to be a part-time player.
And nor should they.
No,
nor should they.
They shouldn't. The first thing that has to go on is he's got to prove himself when he gets to AA or AAA, whatever he's doing. He's got to play well and earn the spot. 6 games that he was up in the major leagues, small sample size. We saw everything we wanted from him last year, but he's got to prove it again.
Agreed. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Still a young prospect, of course. Yes, like we said, we saw what the potential could be at the major league level. Let's not be, nobody here is fooled. If he didn't have Tommy John, he'd be on the major league club right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody's saying that. But again, setbacks happen in baseball, and that's the situation here with him. And he just got to force the issue because, again, Stanton is hitting well. Alex Verdugo is a fan and clubhouse favorite. It's not as easy a decision as some people think it is. Not an MLB The Show decision when you go ahead and just release Stanton or something. Go, okay, he's on the team, he's playing. It's not that easy when big money's involved and all that other stuff. But I will say this, because we did say this on the nights at the round table. I think it's going to be the difference in the ball club. of
Yeah.
what they do with these type of things, what they do in these moments, right? Who are the guys called up? Do they sit there and go, hey, this guy's slowed down a bit. Here's what we're going to do. And, another thing that usually happens, Dane, is these things tend to sort itself out.
They usually
So
do.
we will see what happens. But yes, everybody's extremely excited about the return of Jasson Dominguez, getting his way, coming all the way back now from Tommy John. You said that it's supposed to be 2 weeks DH, and then he's going to be in the field after that.
Right. He's going to take the first 2 weeks just hitting in Tampa. Then they expect to move him up after that.
Okay.
And he'll start playing the field. They're keeping him close to the facilities in Tampa because that's where all the medical is. That's where all the trainers are. They can put him in, this high-speed cameras and all that to work on body movement. But once he clears that, he'll be in the field and he should be moving his way up. He'll probably go to AA and spend probably 2 to 3 weeks there. Probably spend a little time in AAA. And if he forces the issue, then we're talking July.
Yeah.
He might make some tough decisions. So what do you do?
Yeah, that's going to be the question. And obviously, that time is going to come and we'll figure all that out. Right now, the Major League Club is winning ball games. They look phenomenal. They really do.
Yes, they do.
Pitching has been good. And, there are guys, though, in the minor leagues that are already kind of knocking on that door a little bit. And I'll talk about one of them with you. And this is, again, a shout out on my part to John Brophy because he told me a lot in spring training about TJ Rumfield.
Yeah.
TJ Rumfield is a guy, man, that is looking, I think he's opening a lot of eyes because would you say he's probably performing better than the majority of people may have expected?
I think he's performing better than he expected.
Okay.
He's playing out of his mind. He's hitting over 310.
Wow.
He's playing Gold Glove defense. The power isn't quite showing up like it did last year, but he's still hitting the ball hard.
Yeah.
This is a legit MLB first baseman, and he looks good. And he's got Gold Glove caliber defense. That's what drives me nuts about people saying, throw Soto at first base, throw Aaron Judge at first base.
Please.
It's just not a place. We saw a bad defender in Luke Voigt there and how many errors that caused and all that. You need a good defender at first base, especially when you don't have the strongest arms in the infield. You need somebody who can scoop the ball. And
Correct.
TJ is that guy.
Correct.
And if he can keep that up, he's going to be a huge asset. He's never going to put up huge power numbers, but if he can hit you 20 to 25 home runs, hit 280.
Oh, man. It'd be amazing.
And play Gold Glove defense, you're all over it.
Dane, that's one of the better first basemen in the league, if that's the case.
It is. Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think people need to recognize. And let's actually focus on this for a second because also rehabbing in the minor leagues with Jasson Dominguez is Yorbit Vivas. So he's also down there getting his work in. And I want to stick to the Major League infield for a second because people got to remember this. I heard somebody today, I think it was Connor in the chat. Connor's a great member of NYU. He did a super chat during the ball game, and he said, where are all these guys going to play? In a couple of years when they come up, where are they all going to play? Well, the infield, if you're an infielder, there's a lot of options for the Yankees because, right now we don't really have a third baseman. You got Bertie playing there. You got Oswaldo playing there. DJ LeMahieu's expected when he comes back, if he comes back, whatever the hell's going on there. Second baseman, there's not one next year. Per the Yankees contracts, there is not a second baseman as Labor Torres is going to be a free agent. First base, there's an option on Anthony Rizzo, and even if they picked it up, that's another year away from needing a first baseman.
Right.
So you got guys like TJ Rumfield, Caleb Durbin, right? You got Yorbit Vivas, Oswald Peraza. Who else is out there that could kind of work their way into that the infield for the Yankees?
By next year, I think Jared Cerner is going to be an option there as well. Somebody is starting to heat up. I'm a real big fan of Cerner. We did an interview with him. He's just a great kid, and he's a kid. He's never going to be a superstar, but that's okay. You need those kind of role players. He can play multiple positions in the infield. He's gotten a very, very good arm. He's got great speed. and he's always been a 1-to-1 strikeout to walk guy. So
Very important.
he doesn't strike out a lot. You
Yep.
mentioned Caleb Durbin. That kid is opening eyes even more so than TJ Rumfield is. He's hitting for doubles, lots of stolen bases. I think he's got 17 stolen bases already on the year.
Holy shit. Wow.
He's just been incredible. And he's also another guy that can play multiple positions. He's added center field, he's added left field. He can play second base, third base, and he might even be able to play a little shortstop in a crunch.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. You got to be excited about what is coming up on this team. We're not even talking yet about the guys in the lower levels, but sticking to the infield, catching position is still considered the infield.
Yeah.
There's my guy, Augustin Ramirez, is just absolutely on fire. The man has hit his 12th home run in Double-A.
Yeah.
Here's a guy that Dane mentioned the other day on the Nights at the Round Table. Ramirez went 3 levels last season.
Yep.
Right? 3 levels,
Yes.
which is unbelievably impressive for a New York Yankee prospect because they don't typically do that.
Especially a catcher.
A catcher, that's right. And the one level he struggled at last year was Double-A. And, you're kind of seeing it and you're going, did it catch up to him? Did he get to the level where it's the hardest? And is he going to struggle? This guy has come into the year, Dane, and I see people out there saying he's going to be a top 100 prospect in the most recent update coming up. He's going to have to be on there. And we all know it. It's not a surprise to us, by the way. We've talked about this, about Augustin Ramirez. We've kind of seen that.
Yeah.
Very, very much like Gary Sanchez in his swing. But like you mentioned this a lot, I've seen it firsthand because I was in Tampa looking and watching and right up front there with him, taking pictures, talking. We talked a little bit.
Right.
And the guy is an extremely hard worker. He is built like a refrigerator. He is
He's built like a tank.
Kid. He's a tank. He's a tank.
And he's knocking on the door with a sledgehammer is what he's doing.
I was going to say, is this guy slowing down anytime soon? What is it that he learned in Double-A? Apparently, they said maybe he dropped his hands a little bit more.
He worked on launch angle over the winter, trying to get the ball up a little bit more. And as you're seeing by the home runs, boy, it's worked.
It's getting up. I was about to say that the ball is definitely being launched more. No doubt about it.
And if you see the Yankee farm videos, Carlos does a great job getting those out.
That's right.
You can see the power in that swing. There's just a massive amount of power, but he also has some very good plate discipline. Strikes out less than 20% of the time.
That's amazing.
And, yeah,
that's amazing.
And that's what you want to see from your hitting prospects. And he's still very young. He's on the 40-man, but if the way he's hitting, he could kick that door in, and he could be an option in September. If somebody gets hurt at the major league level, you got to think Augustine might be the guy that gets called up because he's a legit bat.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Yankees progress with him. Will they leave him all year in Double-A? Will they say, let's get him up to Triple-A? Let's let him get time up there also? Or is it maybe one of those things, if you don't need him, do you just leave him at the better level of the better competition and just say, played a year in Double-A, why not? It's not like you got to conquer Triple-A too much. I mean, he'll be in camp next year with the Yankees. We know that for a fact. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't need him at the major league level, he's still a phone call away either way if you did need him. Right. Is it worth it going to AAA and maybe facing a couple of more veterans, maybe guys a little more crafty? Maybe you start seeing some more, 3-2 changeups and sliders and curveballs instead of the fastballs. Maybe some of that craftiness is a little bit improved. But the overall talent level we know is kind of bunched in Double-A, and he's conquering that right now. I think it'll be interesting to see the projection for the remainder of the year because he could make a case for being called up now to Triple-A. If you just go based off how a guy's performing. I mean, he's eating Double-A alive.
He is. He's absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. And one thing that's really amazing about what he's doing is his batting average and balls in play coming into this week was 30 points below his batting average. So
That's
that means
freaking crazy.
that means there's still a lot of room for that bat to grow. And he's already doing what he's doing. So what's that look when the batting average and balls in play normalizes?
Right. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. That really is. I mean, he's the hottest prospect out the gate this year. Gotta be.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
He gotta be. Give us an update on his companion there, another top 100 prospect, Spencer Jones.
Spencer's having a rough time.
I thought he started hitting again recently.
He had a base hit last night, but he has not. He was 3 for his last 38 or something like that.
Wow.
Los told me. I think he still has some neck issues. He missed that first week and a half with a neck injury.
Yeah.
And I think that could cause some problems with the swing. It's just not as smooth as what we saw in spring training.
Right.
But you also got to remember, we saw this from Jasson Dominguez last year. But
Correct.
Jasson Dominguez was only hitting 190 for most of the year. Spencer's still hitting 252, I believe. He was over 250. He'll get it figured out. There's too much talent there. There's too much athleticism for him to stall and fail. We saw it in spring. He went 100 pitches without swinging and missing once.
Yeah.
You know, what he did this spring training was just absolutely unreal. And again, the most impressive part about Spencer Jones is the speed.
Right.
And the defense in center field has been really, really good. He threw a guy out at home plate, saved a run. He's a phenomenal center fielder, and playing him anywhere else but center field is a disservice to the organization because he's easily the best center fielder in the system right now.
Yeah, there's definitely no denying that the guy could run him down with the best of them. Everybody knows that. And the thing about him is, you look at his 93 at bats right now. He's hitting 247, 317 on base percentage, 693 OPS. That's one of the big numbers that I always will look at with a guy like Spencer Jones, is he cannot have under a 700 OPS. I think everybody across the board would fully agree with that. But it's also the same thing that we can say that we've seen it before, because Jasson Dominguez did do it. And look, he ended up on the major league team by the end of the year. So it would not shock or surprise anybody if Spencer Jones just puts it on. And you're hearing those talks because he's so friggin' hot in the minors right now.
Right.
You start hearing the talks of, is he going to have a chance to come up? Did they put him in AAA? Did they get him closer to the club? You know, what would then be the progression of a guy like Spencer Jones? But yes, I think it's fair to have a little bit of concern. Again, guys that are 6'6", 230 plus pounds, you always worry about when it's when it's real game time action. How is his body going to handle it? How is he going to handle it? Is he going to cut down on the strikeouts? And I just think, again, it could be multiple things. The neck thing seemed like it was worse than they were saying, because he even played one game, then he was back sitting down for a couple of days. So it could be one of those nagging things that's just there. It could be a nerve. I mean, you don't know. There's a lot of things you could guess on what it could be, but definitely not panic time yet. Definitely not panic time yet. Let him play ball and we'll see what happens.
I think it's actually a good thing. You want to see prospects struggle. I know that's a weird thing for a lot of fans to say, but
it's true.
The true elite talents, when they struggle, they come out better. Again, I am referring to Jasson Dominguez last year, hit under 200, hit 360 in the second half, and ended up on the major league team. Spencer Jones is a very similar talent to Jasson Dominguez, ceiling wise. And I think he'll figure it out. And the future is bright, but goodness, where do you play him?
Yeah, man, no doubt about it. All that is going to be answered, I think we know, in due time. Give us an update on another guy in AA, that AA team, guys. If you can watch them, probably a really good team to go see. Quick little plug for the Somerset Patriots. Definitely a team you probably want to go out there and see because there's a lot of players on that club that could very much be on the New York Yankees very, very soon, and probably a lot of future major leaguers overall. On that team, a couple of guys in the one in the pen, of course, is Neely, and then the other
Cool.
one is a starting pitcher, is our good friend Brock Selvage. Give us some updates across the board on those two guys.
Neely has just been out of his mind. He's pitching to a low 2 ERA. He's going multiple innings, not just 2 innings. He's going 2 1/3, 2 2/3. And that's not something you usually see from a bullpen guy. He's
Yeah.
got electric stuff. The fastball sits in the mid to upper 90s, just an absolute wipeout slider. But the thing that's so unique with him is the arm angle. Being
Yeah.
6'8", he releases the ball very, very high, and it makes it very difficult to pick up. And
Yep.
batters are just not seeing it.
He looks a little
I
like a serial killer, to be honest.
well, is it that's what you want from a reliever?
He should come out to
Absolutely.
the psycho music.
Oh, that would be incredible.
That would be amazing. But he's pitching to it like Dane said. I mean, you could tell the domination here. I mean, 11 games, 1.62 ERA, 16 and 2/3 innings, 25 strikeouts. So yeah. And then I tell you what, like Dane said, 6'8", it's pretty intimidating. Pretty intimidating.
And if you see him on the mound, he just makes everybody look like an adult pitching to 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they look like 12-year-olds trying to face him. They just aren't catching up with it. I think that he's going to be a big piece of that bullpen later this year.
Mm.
And
What
then
about
we
Brock?
had, oh my goodness, he pitched
I
a
know
seven
this is
inning.
what you're excited to talk about.
Oh, I love Brock. He is the best pitching prospect in the system for me right now, and it's not really even close. He's just been dominating. He had a 7 inning complete game last week. It gave up 3 runs, so his ERA went up. That tells you how
Wow.
well he's pitching.
Wow.
And this is a 21-year-old kid. This is not a kid that went to college. This is a kid we drafted out of high school.
That is amazing. Just so everybody is aware how impressive that is. That doesn't you don't always see guys progress this quickly.
No,
And to be pitching and to have 33 innings under his belt in Double-A at 21 years old, have a strikeout an inning, and a 2.18 ERA in Double-A at 21 years old. It's about as impressive as it gets. Like you said, no college experience.
none.
That's wild. It's
And he
wild.
missed a lot of time his senior year because he had an issue with his health. He was supposed to be a high first round pick, but he lost his stuff in the draft class or in the draft before the draft. And the Yankees got him in the 3rd round. I mean, they stole him. And
Yeah.
he really is looking like he's going to be a long-term piece. I thought Carlos Legrande was going to be the big left-hander for us, and Brock has passed him, in my opinion.
You mean
I think-
Lalana? You said Lalana, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Lalane. And, I'll give an update on Lalane a little bit, but Brock is clearly the number 1 pitching prospect. But you got another guy at Double-A that we need to talk about, and that's Ben
Okay.
Rice.
Oh, funny. I had him pulled up. just to prove I have him pulled up. Boom. Ben Rice.
Look at those numbers. The batting average is
252.
280.
252 average, 382 on base percentage, 861 OPS, 8 home runs in 119 at bats. He's 30 for 119, 14 ribbies, 5 stolen bases. Everything is looking, really, really on the up and up for Ben Rice. He's looking like the guy last year.
Yeah, he looks like he's the legit hitter. And we said this all last year. I questioned if the power was real because he just absolutely changed everything about his approach at the plate. The power was brand new. I mean, he hit 320 with 24 home runs last year in the second half, just tore the cover off the ball. But he's doing this from the catcher position. He's splitting time with Augustine behind the plate, and he's playing a little DH, and he's playing a little first base. So this is a guy that can handle anything. And if you listen to the pitchers in our system, when they
Mhm.
talk about Ben Rice, they talk about him being one of the toughest at bats they ever faced because he doesn't swing at bad pitches. He does not expand the zone. And his hard hit barrel percentage is through the roof. This is another very good player. But again, with Austin Wells, Augustine Ramirez, Trevi,
Mm.
you start to wonder what is his use going to be?
It's tough,
And
man. And you got a good prospect, and he's blocked. And on top of that, too, the one of the craziest things for the Yankees is even if you have a guy like him blocked, you think of maybe first base, and a
right.
lot of times when you got such a good prospect who's really performing, you figure out some other spots. And a lot of times you usually kind of go to maybe the outfield. Is he athletic? Could he kind of learn that spot? But even in the Yankees, they got so many. It's kind of like all these outfielders are blocked at this point. Yankees
Yeah.
lock in Soto long term, and Aaron Judge is already locked in long term, and Jasson Dominguez is a top prospect in the planet. Spencer Jones, a top prospect in the planet. He even drafted Valorio, whatever. He's an outfielder, right? Isn't he supposed
Yeah.
to be an outfielder?
Francisco Valario.
Maeda. The Yankees have a ton of these guys that are
The,
gonna need spots, and this is why this. And by the way, a lot of good systems are like this because either it works itself out and guys, figure it out and things just happen over time and they're in there. But it is. I know people are probably sick and tired of hearing us say this, but it is a good problem to have.
oh, it's a phenomenal problem to have. But I'm not sure this one works itself out because
Yeah,
there's
that's hard.
so many players
Yeah.
that are so close to the major league level. You start looking at what are the trade possibilities? What
Yep.
do we seriously need?
Yep.
And when you have a catcher like Ben Rice, who offers plus left hand power, an elite bat, that can get you just about anything you want on the trade market.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No
So
question.
I think that they may look to move Rice, but he could end up at first base. You could see Austin Wells, Augustine Ramirez, and Ben Rice all rotate between catcher and first base in the future.
Yeah, look, I don't think the position is guaranteed to TJ Rumfield. I don't think that's the case. TJ got moved up to AAA pretty quick.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know what the exact reasoning behind that was because it wasn't like he was just tearing the cover off the ball in AA. He really wasn't. He got moved up to AAA and started to perform extremely well. So,
I think that was more about playing time because they had
probably.
a Rice and a Goose who were going back and forth between catcher and first
Yeah.
base, and it was hard to get him innings.
Right, and obviously you're not gonna send him to A ball. I mean
No.
that's the last thing obviously you're gonna do, and I'm pretty sure they have a good understanding of his talent and what he was looking like in spring training and at the minor league complex to figure out he can handle that level, and it's being rewarded right now because he's doing phenomenal.
Yeah.
What about some of the guys below that AA level that you want to talk about?
Cam Schlittler is a 6'5" pitcher that we drafted a couple years ago, and he wasn't even in our top 30.
Yep,
And
that's right.
he's got one of the lowest ERAs for a starting pitcher. I think it's 2.03 is what I
Wow,
saw last.
wow.
He threw 5 no-hit innings last week. He's just been incredibly impressive. And again, the Yankees turn out pitchers like it's unbelievable.
Yep.
We never have seen this in the history of watching the Yankees farm system like I have for 20 years, where they've had this kind of pitching. It's just really silly. And
Agreed.
going all the way back to AAA, you have Will Warren. He had a tough start last night, but he's still a viable major league pitcher right now. You have Clayton Beater, who's looking really good as a starting pitcher.
Yep.
I don't know what his role is. Edgar Barclay's pitching very well. He's a left-hand guy. He's almost a Nestor clone, but he could be an option in the bullpen. There's just so much pitching. And we got some great news last week about Chase Hampton. We thought that he was done for the year because they moved into the 60-day IL. Turned out to be a housekeeping move, and it was retroactive. And he's going to start throwing again in about a week or two. So that's something
Great
that's
news.
very, very exciting.
Yep. And then you look at man, oh man. I mean, you look at what Clayton Beater is doing. Look at the strikeouts per. Look at the strikeouts that innings pitched. 28 innings pitched, 41 strikeouts as a starter.
Right.
3-1 in the year with a 2.89 ERA. I mean, you talk about a guy that's taken a step forward. His career ERA in the minor leagues is 3.77. I mean,
Yeah.
not that that's some terrible ERA in the minor leagues for a pitcher, but I mean, he always struck guys out. 289 career innings pitched, 413 strikeouts. So the guy got the stuff to put people away, no question about it. But like you mentioned a lot of spring training, can he develop that changeup a little more, or develop the off speed enough where he can have 3 pitches to be a viable starter? And right now, it looks like he's doing that.
He's throwing the curveball a little bit more. He's always had a really good curveball, but they
Yeah.
kind of put it in the back pocket. He's been throwing that more. The changeup still isn't quite where you want it, but if you look at those numbers, he's making it work as a starting pitcher. And
He
I
is.
don't, maybe you break him in the bullpen that way, but that's a viable major league starting pitcher. And AAA is different. The ERAs there are higher. Most starting pitchers sit around a 4, and that's good ones.
Yeah.
For him to be in the low 2s really speaks to how good he is pitching. And
Yeah. And
I think
mind
they
you,
get it. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say the Yankees starting rotation at the major league level has been, very, very good. We're just coming off of a day where Carlos Rodon gives him a home run to begin a game. Then he goes 6 innings basically after that of shutout baseball after the first batter of the game.
Right.
Against the Minnesota Twins, who happen to be one of the best teams in the American League. And
Mhm.
all right-handers, by the way. So he faced no lefties, no lefty-lefty matchups, all right-handers, 6 Ks in that game. He was phenomenal. And he's having a hell of a bounce back. But Garrett Cole is on his way back.
He
That's
is.
going to boot somebody out of the Yankees rotation. Then you kind of look around and go, where would a beater fit? And in reality, it could very well be a guy that the Yankees actually probably need a guy
Yeah.
like him in the bullpen, to be fair. Like, for Ben Rice, it's tough to kind of figure out what his path is. For me,
Yes.
with all the starting pitching, and anything can happen, so they may need him in that role. But if everything progresses the way it is, I think a spot that is still open now that Luke Weaver looks like a late inning guy, I think the role of the 2-3 inning pitcher every couple of games is
The Mike King role.
perfect. The Mike King role is perfect for a guy like Beater. And we thought that actually might be it out of spring training. He
Yeah.
made the team. He pitched 1 inning, but then he was sent back down and he's been back down. Maybe after May 16th, maybe that's something we see. We see Beater up in that type of role, because it's not like the Yankees bullpen doesn't need help. They're going
Right.
to need help. I think it makes sense. I think that could really
I-
make sense.
Yeah, he's got dominating stuff, and it would play up out of the bullpen. I
Right.
think that is an absolute perfect role for him. You could put him on the Clark Schmidt plan, where you put
Yeah.
him in the major leagues, let him pitch 2 to 3 innings a couple times a week. Maybe you piggyback him on a Louis Hill to keep Louis Hill's innings down.
Makes sense.
That would be a nice role to get him to break in, and eventually from there, maybe he looks in the rotation.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Who else is on your radar?
Well, George Lombard Jr. is back. He is
Okay.
healthy. He's back playing. That's a phenomenal. The kid has just got an approach that you can't teach.
Right.
He's walking. If you pull up his numbers, the number of walks is just insane for him. They have him playing second, shortstop, third base a little bit. He looks very, very good. One of the concerns is Roderick Arias is really scuffling right
I saw
now.
that. Yep. I saw that.
I think he's got 13 errors.
Whew. Yeah. Lombard, by the way, folks, 21 walks. Holy shit.
Yep.
21 walks. His on base percentage is 411. His average is 221, but he got a 411 on base percentage. That literally
can't-
means, you know what it is? Forget the batting average, because he would basically be a week away of good baseball to hitting well over 300.
Yeah.
It's all it would take is a decent week.
Yep. That's all it takes. And we talk about those infield spots that are open in the future. I think he's a lock for one of them. I
Feels that way.
It really does. With all the time that he spent in the major league spring training, you don't see kids that were drafted last year, especially right out of high school,
Mhm.
stick around on the major league camp until the very end. And he did.
That's right. That's right.
So he's really stood out. Dylan Yasso down in Tampa, he's opening some eyes. He looks very, very good. There's been some adjustment at the plate. He's hitting well for power. He's making contact. He's another guy that Brophy is very, very high on. And John, his boots on the ground there. And, he's been right about everybody else. Maybe this is another big time prospect for us.
Yeah, so Dylan is 21 years old in A ball. On the year, a 292 average, 392 on base percentage. Very, very, very impressive. 884 OPS. That's an 120 at bat. So yeah, another infield prospect to keep an eye on for the New York Yankees. Not if they don't have enough already, but just
Right.
add another name as somebody to keep tabs on this year. He's another one.
Yeah. Going back to the AA roster, Benjamin Cowles has been absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. I really don't know what his role is going to be, but he can play second, third base, shortstop. And he's batting, he was well over 300.
319
Looks like,
is where
yeah,
he's at right now. Yep, 319, 116 at bats, 37 hits, 3 home runs, 20 ribbies, 4 stolen bases. So again, a guy that Dana's, spot on, absolutely tearing the cover off of the ball. 401 on base percentage, 927 OPS.
it's another guy. It's a phone call away if you need him. I don't know
Yep.
what it, but I think he's going to be a little bit like Rob Refsnyder.
Mm,
I think that's a fairly good major league comp for him.
okay.
So maybe there's some trade pieces there. That's one thing about this system right now. We have more prospects than we know what to do with.
Agreed. No question. But that's a good,
And
and again, I know we're going to keep repeating that, but that is a very, very good thing to have because
oh yeah,
when your system becomes a system where other organizations are looking at and you have pieces that other organizations will of course need and you don't, it makes trade conversation a little bit easier. It makes giving up that good prospect a little more okay. And Dane, if you remember, during the offseason, that's something I mentioned a lot. I said, I'm willing to move guys because I know what is on the way up. When you know the system,
absolutely.
it makes you a little more comfortable saying, well, if we do this, I know it's going to hurt. I know it's risky, but I'm going to take that risk just because we know what is on the way up. And that is the best systems in baseball. When a system can say that and do that and be stacked at the major league level, it's the best case scenario.
Right. And there's really two teams, and they're both in the AL East, being us and Baltimore, that have great farm systems
Yeah.
that are loaded at the major league level that can go out and get anything either of us need. And I tell you what, to have a championship caliber team that's got one of the better farm systems in baseball, that's where you want to be, and that's where the Yankees are.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So guys, we're gonna get ready to wrap up the show here. Again, I am gonna be unavailable until probably Thursday afternoon. So if you're looking for Game Season Live after this show, there is not gonna be a Game Season Live or a post game. Also tomorrow, there will not be a Game Season Live. Maybe a post game depending on when we get back. But once we're back, guys, it is obviously NYYU as normal. But thankful for me and Dane, of course, to be able to do the show as late as we're doing it. Basically right after I did a Game Season Live and Dane was moderating, we're right here doing this.
Just
So
worked out.
very excited to have Jasson Dominguez back in the fold. I mean, how
Oh,
can you not be excited about it? And as you know, we talked about on a 4-hour episode of Nights at the Roundtable, where he's gonna play, we don't know. We it's hard to guess, but if he works hard enough and he plays hard enough, I think they'll find a spot for him.
I'm pretty sure they will. They'll figure out something because he's just too good not to be at the major league level.
Agreed.
It's an exciting
150%.
It's one of the most exciting times in Yankee baseball I can remember in recent memory.
No
It's
question. The talent pool this team has, I don't remember. I don't remember a time when it was
I
like
don't
this.
either.
Nowhere near it. Nowhere near it.
No.
So again, we always say tip of the cap to the organization on what they're doing with building a legitimate farm system. No longer no knock on these guys, but no longer your Eric Duncans, your Andy Phillips, your more soon ones, your Floriels, who never really
Yeah,
panned out. He's kind of in that role of a fourth outfielder now at the major league level. Good for him. But didn't really pan out to be that starter, all-star type starting outfielder that we thought he could be. Austin Jackson's, these guys.
Clint
Kind of got
Frazier's.
Clint Frazier's. You got a lot of really legit prospects. And if you're a Yankee fan, this is why this show is so important here, because you're going to learn about these guys. And again, I'll give you guys a prime example right now. Augustine Ramirez is a guy that we all believed in here, but a lot of people did not know. Now he's in every household of Yankee fans. They know
Absolutely.
the name Augustine Ramirez now because of what he's doing. And that is why you watch this show, because there's so many guys out there that are in a span of a year, in a span of a season, you'll be talking about them like on a daily basis of where they're going to fit. And we've been ahead of that with a Goose and many more guys to come, of course.
Absolutely. And guys, just keep looking out for the Yankee farm content. Keep looking
That's
out
right.
for Brophy stuff on Twitter.
Subscribe to Yankees Farm, please.
And it's an amazing time to be a Yankees fan right now, guys.
Yep. Dane is right too. Shout out to John Brophy. He does an unbelievable job. Like Dane said, feet on the ground in Tampa. You hear any whisper out there, John Brophy's around in Tampa. Trust me, when it comes to the minor leagues. So, guys, with that being said, smack the like, hit that sub. Until next time, we are out of here. Peace, baby.
Later, guys.
Top 10 radar, yeah, we on your radar. Never miss, dog, and that's on occasion. Yeah, we on your radar. Yeah. Hey, look, top floor lifestyle, chef and boy, I'm cooking up. Way too high, ain't coming down. You see me if you looking up. I don't really talk too much, I show I'm running numbers up. Lucky that I'm showing up, I'm going off, they know what's up. Wrist too silly, yeah. Numbers crack the billy, yeah. Don't need no dilly, I'm too fresh, I feel like really, yeah. Feel the devil's up the sign, I need a million. I'm about to take off, and I know that I'm on they radar.